After Kevin Durant requested a trade away from the Brooklyn Nets, Miami and Phoenix quickly emerged as the favorites to land him. But since then, the Raptors have picked up a lot of steam and are now emerging themselves as one of the best candidates to trade for Kevin Durant. So in today's video, I'm going to break down why the Raptors are really the best destination for Kevin Durant through a trade. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Sports, here for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I bring you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, and I'm going to be doing it all throughout the offseason, especially through these Kevin Durant trade rumors. So if you like what you see from today's video, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers. You can help us get there. You may even be that 10,000 subscriber. In return, I'm going to give you all this great Raptors content, and be sure, if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, that you drop a like to support the channel. But let's get into the content today. Kind of exciting to talk about it. The prospect of Kevin Durant being traded to the Toronto Raptors. And at this point, it really is not speculation like, hey, the Raptors could insert themselves within these discussions. I mean, like, they've got some good assets. They got a lot of picks they could trade to make this happen. It's no longer speculation. The Raptors are firmly entrenched and ingrained within these Kevin Durant discussions. The Raptors are a real player in these discussions and are actually emerging as one of the favorites to land Kevin Durant. Popular online was people referring to the betting odds associated with this. The Raptors started at plus 3,500 and have quickly dropped from that plus 3,500 mark to a plus 250. Plus 250 would imply a percentage of around 28% that the Raptors get Kevin Durant. The Phoenix Suns are still the favorite with about over 50% odds going in their favor, but nonetheless, the Raptors are a real player in this market as a result of the players that they have available to trade, as a result of the picks they have available to trade. So what I want to discuss in today's video is who the Raptors could trade to make this happen and actually bring Kevin Durant to the Raptors. And then we are going to discuss what other teams have to offer and why the Raptors can give that little bit more for KD. So Kevin Durant, after 3 years of really accomplishing nothing but one playoff series win in Brooklyn, now want to trade. Say what you want about Kevin Durant as an individual, the way he quit on OKC, the way he's now quitting on the Brooklyn Nets. This is undoubtedly a top 5 player in the NBA, and like November, December, before the injuries kind of hit him last season, he was the front runner to win MVP, and people were suggesting, and a lot of people were arguing, saying that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. Now, I don't think he's the best player in the NBA, but certainly he is a top 5 player in the league, and if you trade for Kevin Durant, you get 4 guaranteed years of him on contract, and I'm telling you, if he comes to Toronto, he is going to buy into the system because the culture, I mean, Kevin Durant has even himself spoken about how much he likes playing in Toronto. In fact, Kevin Durant has been quite vocal over the last decade or so about just liking Toronto in general, liking the players in the team, liking the way the organization is run, and very prominently likes coming to the city. He enjoys being in Toronto, and I have no doubt in my mind, seriously, I have no doubt in my mind that if Kevin Durant were to be traded to the Toronto Raptors, he would enjoy life here, and it would be an enjoyment for life off the court, but life on the court may be even better because the Raptors have so many great pieces available to put around Kevin Durant. Now, the tricky part is going to be how you can actually make that trade for Kevin Durant, because he is not going to come cheap. Even though he has requested a trade, Brooklyn still holds a little bit of leverage in the negotiation because, first of all, they can just kind of play off every other team. There are going to be so many teams gunning for Kevin Durant that you're going to have to make the best offer in order to actually get him. I don't think Brooklyn have a ton of leverage in this negotiation because once a player requests a trade and he asks you to actually trade him, you lose a lot of that leverage initially. And just because he's going to probably try to force his way out, they don't hold as much leverage as they would have. Nonetheless, this is going to be an absolutely motherload package. And Brooklyn, I guess, can hang on to Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant can just sit out. That seems unlikely to me. I just feel like that would be a bit of a mess for Brooklyn. And also, I feel like that would just continue to decrease Kevin Durant's trade value. So they are going to get a huge package. They're going to get an even bigger package as a result of the Minnesota Timberwolves trading 5 first-round picks in order to get Rudy Gobert. I'm sure the Brooklyn Nets saw that trade and were just licking their chops go, oh, if Rudy Gobert is going for that much, just imagine what we can get for Kevin freaking Durant. So what the Raptors have to offer, obviously, it's the motherload of picks. You're likely going to have to give up 4 first-round picks and either 2 or 3 pick swaps. I would prefer not to tie up our draft capital for 7 years. Ideally you do 3 first and 2 pick swaps, but I believe it's going to have to be 4 first-round picks. Now, the biggest thing associated with these discussions, Brooklyn, their first call, in my opinion, was to the Raptors to make this trade because they were looking for one man and one man only. That is Scottie Barnes. They wanted to get Scottie Barnes for Kevin Durant. And I'm telling you, I'm not there. I don't have any sources, but I'm telling you with a lot of certainty, the Raptors said no. As good as Kevin Durant is, we understand that Scottie Barnes just won Rookie of the Year. He's projecting to be a potential superstar in the NBA, a perennial all-star in the NBA. That is not somebody that you trade away. That is just absolutely somebody you do not trade away. He is completely untouchable within these negotiations. He just won Rookie of the Year over players like Evan Mobley, who I'm sure the Nets contacted as well, and the Cavs probably said no to Evan Mobley also. So he's off the table. Scottie Barnes is off the table, but does that mean everybody else on the Raptors is on the table? In my opinion, a trade that could work out is the Raptors sending OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., along with some salary filler, let's say like Kem Burks, let's say like Malachi Flynn, to balance out the books, along with 4 first-round picks and let's say 2 pick swaps. If it has to be 3 pick swaps, I honestly would probably still go ahead. I would definitely still go ahead and do that. Now, the thing about this offer is that you probably still need to give a little bit more for Kevin Durant. So the question becomes, do you want to trade Pascal Siakam in order to get Kevin Durant? In my opinion, the Raptors are looking to win a championship in the first 2 years that he's here, probably the first year that Kevin Durant arrives. The idea behind trading for Kevin Durant is that you want him to play with Pascal Siakam. I still hold out hope maybe Siakam could be the number 1 guy, but ultimately he is best suited to be the number 2 option on a team. Well, how about being the second option to Kevin Durant? That is a team that is likely the NBA title favorites going into the season. If you can get rid of Gary Trent Jr. and OG, I know we not get rid of, but unfortunately get rid of those guys. You have a team of Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant, Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Precious Achiuwa. That's your starting 5. Yeah, that's probably the title favorite going into the season. It depends on where Kyrie ends up. If he goes to the Lakers, maybe it shifts to them, but that is one of the favorites. That is one of the very few legitimate contenders in the NBA if that were to happen. But the big if, that's it. It's the big if. If you can do this without moving Pascal Siakam. Personally, I feel less inclined to make this trade if it involves Pascal Siakam because I'm pretty comfy with our core. But I feel like Gary Trent and OG Anunoby, along with that boatload of picks, is a tough offer to match for other teams. So let's go to all the other players within this game. We'll get to the Phoenix Suns last because I believe they are the favorites to actually land Kevin Durant. But the other teams within the discussion, let's first of all go to the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat would want to trade Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson immediately. That is worse than Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets would have much interest in taking anybody else like Kyle Lowry to maybe balance out the salary a little bit more. They're going to be wanting to go for Bam Adebayo because Jimmy Butler assumingly is off the table. Bam Adebayo, based on his contract, cannot play on the same team as Ben Simmons. To sum it up as briefly as possible, because they are both on a 5-year rookie extension, the Brooklyn Nets cannot trade for 2 players on that 5-year rookie max extension and have them both on the same team. If they were to sign one that they drafted on that 5-year rookie max and trade for another one, that's okay. But they cannot trade for 2 of those players, and obviously they traded for Ben Simmons last season. So they cannot take Bam Adebayo without moving Simmons. So for Miami to get involved, they would actually have to bring in a 3rd and possibly, a 4th team. But they would at least have to bring in a 3rd team in order to trade Bam Adebayo. And to be honest, looking at the assets that Miami have, do Brooklyn Nets really want to be a Tyler Hero team? I don't think so. Miami just don't have the stuff or the assets to get this trade done. I think we can rule them out fairly quickly. The 76ers, the Celtics, might want to feel like they can get invested within this game, but they don't seem to be players within it. I think that a real threat that people aren't talking about is New Orleans. I mean, does Kevin Durant really want to play there? I don't know. It seems like a pretty good culture, but hey, if you can move Brandon Ingram and some other good pieces, that is a deal that Brooklyn would really ought to consider, because I would say Zion's off the table, but if you can get a package around Brandon Ingram and another really good player on that team, like, you get into Herb Jones and maybe some other young guys, that's a trade worth considering for Brooklyn. But that doesn't seem like one that there's been really any traction towards from reports. The big one is the Phoenix Suns. Now, I think that they are the favorite to get this done, but it is not going to be easy. The Phoenix Suns obviously could trade Devin Booker, but why would you trade for Kevin Durant if he's not going to be playing with Devin Booker? So you're going to keep Devin Booker. He's going to be off the table. What they're going to want to be offering is DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges. Now, I think there's certainly a debate how that stacks up to OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. I think it's debatable. Ultimately, maybe call it bias. I don't care. I would prefer to have Trent and OG over Bridges and DeAndre Ayton, especially if DeAndre Ayton is going to be signing either a max contract or a near max contract. Brooklyn may feel enticed by that offer, by all of the picks, because Phoenix have complete control over all of those picks, all of their picks, for the foreseeable future. So they can trade all their picks. They can give Bridges and Ayton. They can also maybe add in a little bit of Cam Johnson to sweeten the deal for the Nets. Here is where the big problem lies in Phoenix. Phoenix have a base year compensation on DeAndre Ayton because they are trading him away after a sign and trade. So how the base year compensation works, it's a little bit confusing, but to make it as simple as possible, Brooklyn have to take on the full amount of whatever DeAndre Ayton's new contract is. If it's $30 million, let's make it simple, they have to salary match with DeAndre Ayton making $30 million. But the base year compensation for Phoenix, they only have to take on 50% of that amount when there's salary matching in this trade. Kevin Durant is making over $40 million. So the salary matching in mind, I mean, it kind of works if you're taking on $30 million from Ayton and also that Bridges contract, which is quite good. But if Phoenix only have to take half of that Ayton contract in a salary matching situation, that is going to be extremely difficult to balance out mathematically for something that was already extremely difficult to balance out mathematically. So the Raptors have kind of entered into those discussions, maybe like a third or fourth team. And there's kind of little rumors, not rumors, but people are kind of saying like, hey, the Raptors could actually end up with DeAndre Ayton in this trade instead of Kevin Durant, which I mean, wouldn't be awful. I would prefer to kind of hang on to OG or Trent if it means trading them for Ayton. I would prefer to keep OG and Trent in that discussion, just kind of hold what we have. But that is a difficult trade for Phoenix to execute, but it is not impossible. They have the assets and the draft equity to make this trade happen, but it's going to be extremely difficult. The Raptors have a lot of the key assets available to make this trade, and the discussion is going to have to go to, will the Raptors add Pascal Siakam? So based on what I think about this, I think that you can really make something work out of Gary Trent and OG Anunoby. If Brooklyn want to say no, then, at the end of the day, like, I'm pretty comfortable with what we have. We're a team that can stay patient at the moment. We don't have to do this. It would be awesome to go get Kevin Durant. We don't have to do this. I believe a trade around Trent and OG could work. The Raptors may also have to add in Siakam instead of one of those two players. If they do that, I feel less inclined to do it. I probably wouldn't, but if the Raptors actually did do this, I don't think I would say I'd be too upset about it. If they traded Scottie Barnes, I would be livid. They cannot do that, and they will not do that. But regardless of who's involved in these discussions, who the Raptors are offering, the Raptors are a serious player in these discussions. And it won't even be that huge of a surprise if they actually were to land the former MVP, 2 times Finals MVP, Kevin Durant, and it would completely change the dynamic of this league. So what do you guys think of these Kevin Durant rumors? Do you actually think he could come to Toronto? And what sort of package do we have to put together in order to make that happen? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please drop a like if you did enjoy any point. When you drop a like on this video, it lets YouTube know that people with similar interests to you may also enjoy this video, and therefore it is recommended to more people. It takes you a second to drop a like, but it actually does help me out a ton. And make sure remember, for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and you can help us get there, and you're going to get all this great content in return. I'll see you again next time for another video.